comes to succeeding on YouTube, there's two different concepts you need to understand. And they're really important because 90% of people focus on the second one when they should be focusing on the first one. So, what are these concepts? It's optimization versus topical interest. Okay, like what do those mean? First off, optimization is things like optimizing your title, optimizing your thumbnail, optimizing your retention, your pacing, retention tweaks, all that. Optimization is optimizing your content to go viral. That's what optimizing is. Topical interest is how inherently interesting your YouTube video actually is. And like I said, everyone focuses on optimization when they should be focusing on topical interest. And why? Why does topical interest win? Well, for my POV, topical interest is way higher leverage. Like a more interesting idea almost always beats a very well optimized video. Because at the end of the day, why are people watching YouTube? They're watching YouTube to be entertained. So if you are an 8 out of 10 on topical interest against a 8 out of 10 on optimization, topical interest always wins because it fulfills what an entertainment video should do. It entertains. A great example that pops in my head is this channel called Family Friendly. They would do a lot of like flirting with women kind of content, right? And they made a new video, and all they did is they took the online encounters with women and they put it in real life. They went to a college town and they flirted with women in real life. And what's crazy here is that there was basically no change in the optimization. Like the thumbnail was pretty similar level, the intro, the video, everything was at a similar level from an optimization point of view, but that video wildly overperformed because the topical interest was way higher. Talking to women in real life is way more interesting than talking to them like over a camera, right? And so that's kind of a great example, in my opinion, of the difference between topical interest and optimization. You might be wondering, so when does optimization actually come in handy? Well, there's a couple things here. First off is the first 20% of optimization matters way more than the other 80%. And what I mean by that is like the first 20% of optimization is usually just clarity. Like how clear and easy to understand is your content. That's usually in the first 20%. And that's, in my opinion, probably the most important part of it because it kind of gets you 80% of the results with 20% of the work, which is like, are you talking slow enough so that people can understand? When you mention like something, does it show up on screen? Is it like basically are things you're talking about super clear and easy to understand? That's when optimization is really important. It's for the really basic things that every viral YouTube video needs to have, aka clarity. And that's kind of the main one that's in my mind right now. After that, you know, when you talk about like YouTube as a data science or as a psychology science, those can be useful. Don't get me wrong. They are useful, but the returns are diminishing. And so that's where I see optimization being the most useful in a YouTube video. But the real combo where optimization is actually a heavy lifter is in a very niche case. It's when your YouTube channel combines a blue ocean with optimization. And so a good example I'll give you is I started a channel a couple years ago for fun. It's called Imoto, IMOTO, and it was a brand new channel in the anime space, okay? And that was what I would describe as a blue ocean. There was a bunch of content in the anime space, but most of it was not very well optimized. Like there was a big audience, there were a lot of anime fans, but the content there was, you know, there was a lot of fluff. The thumbnails weren't very good. The ideas weren't very, they weren't as creative as they could be. And so it was a blue ocean in terms of like, a lot could be done in that niche to get views, and it wasn't being done. And so when I combined that blue ocean, the anime space, with optimization, the channel blew up. The first video to date is still the most viewed video on that channel. It has like 6 million views. The channel hit 100,000 subs in under 7 months, I think. And overall, that channel crushed. And that's kind of a very niche case where optimization is actually really, really important. So if you're outside of that scenario, I would say for most people, you should be focusing on topical interest. Like look at every part of making a YouTube video and think about how can I make this inherently more interesting? How can I make the thumbnail more interesting? How can I make the video idea more interesting? The intro more interesting? That's the highest leverage thing you can do basically. And if you're a smaller to medium-sized creator, I want to make one thing super, super clear. You cannot win on optimization, I would say 9 times out of 10. The reason why is because bigger YouTubers have bigger teams, more budget, more resources, more experience. Like 9 times out of 10, they'll crush you in terms of optimization. They just have more to work with. And so if you want to compete with the biggest channels in your field, the secret is creativity. That's where it's an even playing field, topical interest, because a great idea is a great idea. A great intro is a great intro. That's how high leverage topical interest is, and why I think focusing on that is way more important than focusing on small tweaks in optimization. I'm gonna change my music real quick. This is an ass song. Topical interest evens the playing field, while optimization is normally really hard to compete on against massive channels. They just have more resources. Like that's it. They have more resources. They can optimize more than you can. You know, if they have 100 men and each man puts an hour into a video to optimize it, that's 100 hours of optimization, and you're one man. You would have to do that by yourself. That would be 2 weeks of work if that's all you did, focusing on that one level of optimization. And so actionably speaking, like okay, topical interest, cool. That's what I'm gonna focus on, is maybe what you're saying in your head. What do I do? Well, specifically, it just comes down to ideas. Because the idea is the most important part of the video, it all basically comes down to that, is can you sink more time into ideas? Can you find more ways to come up with crazy, unique, and creative ideas? The fact of the matter is that you're gonna get most of the results by just thinking, how can I make this idea crazier, and how can I make it fresher? Those are the kind of the main two things for optimizing for topical interest, basically. And you're not gonna hit real topical interest just by doing small twists. Like a small twist on an existing idea isn't enough if you're a smaller or medium-sized creator. What you gotta do is like a 50% very different, it feels completely fresh type of video idea. That's what you need to do to really leverage topical interest to get the most views possible. That's how you can win as a smaller creator or a medium-sized creator, is you really go all in on topical interest and ignore the optimization part of it. Sure, optimization is important. Again, the first 20% of it is actually really useful, but after that, it's all topical interest. Like if you think about it, why do people watch YouTube videos? It's to be entertained. Like, I'm talking specifically about entertainment content here. They watch it to be entertained. And so optimizations are nice. Like, okay, let's make this thumbnail 15% brighter so it stands out more. That's awesome. Don't get me wrong. I do that. But the core question that should be answered is this thumbnail inherently interesting? Is this video idea inherently interesting? The specific words you use in your intro or in your title don't matter as much. And so going into 2026, that's what you should focus on, is this part of my video inherently interesting or not? Anyways, peace. That's all that I wanted to talk about.